What's going on, everybody? My name is Aiden and welcome back to another video. Ladies and gentlemen, today we are going to be discussing the Chicago Bulls, and more specifically I want to talk a little bit about Billy Donovan. Now, I haven't done a video about this particular topic in a while, but I want to talk about what I like and what I do not like about Billy Donovan and his coaching style. Now, things may have changed a little bit from what I last felt about Billy Donovan, but I feel like after seeing a certain amount of games, there's certain things that I'm really starting to pick up on. Some things other people have really, has been speaking about this for a while, and maybe I'm slowly coming into the situation of understanding it, and other things are things I've really held still and known about and talked about for a while. So we're going to talk all about these things in this video. It might not be the most not entertaining, that's not the word, positive video, let's say, about Billy Donovan, but I'm going to try my best to really give some positives and negatives in this video, because I do think there is a conversation for both in this type of situation. But before we get any further, if you enjoyed this video, you want to see more from me, feel free to like, follow, and or subscribe if you are new, and let me know in the comments below your thoughts about the Bulls, Billy Donovan, and I guess what you like and what you don't like. Now, I know everybody's going to go straight to the dislikes, but I do encourage to share something positive today, whether it's about the Bulls, Billy Donovan, or maybe something else entirely. It's not always fun to be negative every single time. But again, we haven't talked about Billy Donovan in a long time, so let's get started. I want to quickly talk about Billy Donovan, and once again, the thing that I really like the most about him is his honesty. I am always an advocate for honesty, and I think Billy Donovan is one of the more honest head coaches out there in the NBA. Some people can just say no comment. Some people could just say, I don't, like it doesn't really matter. Some people could give you the basic standard NBA answer of we're trying our best or something along those lines. Well, I do see a fair share of that with Billy Donovan in some of his speeches. He openly admits when he doesn't know something. And at the end of the day, that's honesty. That's all you can really ask for from a specific situation. Sometimes, I'll be brutally honest, I believe head coaches don't have all the answers. At the end of the day, if they had all the answers, they'd be the best, most perfect head coach you'd ever see. Some people just don't have the answers for specific problems, don't have solutions, or can't find a way to get something done, or can't find a way to solve something. And I don't actually hold that against Billy Donovan, because at the end of the day, as I mentioned before, if you had the answers for every problem you had, you'd be the best NBA coach there ever was. You'd be the best NBA team there ever was. And no team is perfect, and definitely no coaching staff is perfect. But instead of trying to hide the truth, or try to hide certain situations and keep it away from the public eye and the public perception, he's very honest about his answers. Again, there are certain coaches we've had in the past that are not honest on their answers. And if they are honest with their answers, they deliver some really horrible answers. With Billy Donovan, I don't see that much. He's definitely a professional in the way that he speaks, and he's honest in the way that he interacts with the media and with the public. And that is always something I'm going to take note of. I also like what Billy Donovan does when it comes to trust. Recently, at least. And I'm going to give the example of Onrulu Batim here. Now, he's a guy Batim, who has not played a whole lot of basketball for the Chicago Bulls, but he made a heck of a first impression against the Cleveland Cavaliers. And instantly from that game onto this game against the Kings, where he didn't have the best impression, he's played pretty consistently from the Cavs, the Bucks, and now the Kings. And hopefully it may continue. And that's a big thing. Trust. Billy Donovan, I think sometimes it's hard to earn his trust. We've seen that with guys like Dalen Terry. We've seen that with guys like Julian Phillips. But when you get his trust, he really does trust you. I'm going to give another example of Ayo Dosunmu out here. Ayo Dosunmu didn't play a whole lot in his first season for the Bulls while Lonzo Ball was healthy, but he found his way to work into the rotation. Slowly but surely, he started gaining the trust of Billy Donovan. And once you get the trust of Billy Donovan, he will trust you to the moon and back. It's not going to be trust now and don't trust in 2 games' time. It's going to be trust and more trust and continual trust. Sometimes too much trust to the point of frustration. But at the end of the day, I do like that about Billy Donovan. It's not going to be easy to earn a head coach's trust, nor should it be easy to earn a head coach's trust. But when you do earn his trust, he will trust you, he will back you. And that is something that I do like about Billy Donovan as well. He's not a terrible person to be a head coach under in many ways. But now let's turn to some of the negatives, because there's quite a few. And if you've seen a lot of my previous videos, I think the number one thing I've talked about when it comes to Billy Donovan is motion in our offense. This is a new thing that I'm really starting to figure out. Now, I've always understood this hero ball in isolation. I think that's a different topic in general. But one thing I really never focused on was how players are moving without the ball. We talked about Caruso doing it back when Javonte Green was here. We talked about him doing it, and it has been a topic in the past. But I think over recent games, it's become a big problem with the Chicago Bulls. These players do not move. They don't move anywhere near enough without the ball than they should. Now, transition is one thing. I think the Bulls still move in transition. But when it's a half-court set, DeMar DeRozan has the ball in his hands, or Kobe White has the ball in his hands, the off-ball guys don't move, don't cut, they sit in the perimeter, and they're expecting those guys to make something happen. And I think that just leads to really poor offense. At the end of the day, I'm not asking for the Golden State Warriors type of offense, although I think that would be fantastic. I understand that takes years and years of work to get to the point where everybody knows where they're supposed to be on the court, and the movement is just so unique and so, in many ways, beautiful to watch that it leads to some really unpredictable offense. I'd love to get to that stage, but I'm not asking at that stage at the very beginning. But the movement and the motion in our offense off the ball is very, it's a disaster. It's genuinely a disaster. And I feel like pretty much every team in the league has better motion in their offense than the Bulls. We are just so stagnant when we play offense. And it sucks because we have really good offensive players. When LaVine was here playing, he was a very good offensive player. DeMar DeRozan is obviously a fantastic offensive player. Kobe White is proving to be a very good offensive player. Guys like Ayo stepped up offensively. Caruso's having his best year offensively. Vucevic, outside of this Kings game, was fantastic for most of the last week. So there's good offensive players. And I'm not saying our offense doesn't work, but I'm saying our offense needs a little bit of an extra layer there. And that should be moving without the ball. We have really dynamic cutters on this team, especially Ayo. I think it benefits so much if there was more motion in the offense that can give him some easier chances at the rim without him using the ball and driving it himself, where someone can pass it to him because of a cut, or, you know, an off-ball screen that leads to an open play, or something along those lines. I feel like that's very much missing for the Bulls. If you watch our games, you know how it is. It's isolation, it's pick and rolls, it's passing. You know, we do pass the ball, we do allow teams to scramble on us, you know, we still pass across the perimeter, and teams sometimes struggle with that, but motion in the offense, we need to see more of it. The next thing I don't like about Billy Donovan's style of play, it almost feels like he actually advocates for getting the pick and roll coverages wrong. Again, I hate the fact that we allow a switch 1 through 5 where we're seeing Nikola Vucevic guarding point guards out there. It happened against De'Aaron Fox. It happened against Darius Garland and Donovan Mitchell. It happened in the Bucks game against Damian Lillard. It happened all the way back in the Brooklyn game with Spencer Dinwiddie. It happened with Cade Cunningham. We are allowing Vucevic to go and guard guards. And I don't care who you are, what name you are, you just can't let that happen. Whether that's the worst guard you've ever seen in your life or the most elite guard like Stephen Curry you've ever seen in your life. Vucevic should not be guarding that guy, should not even be coming close to guarding that guy. And I think that's an active mistake that Billy Donovan doesn't address. And even when he does address it, I still feel like we get it wrong. Whether it's blitzing the pick and roll, trying to trap the pick and roll, double teaming the pick and roll, or whether or not Vucevic is that anchor on defense that stays in the paint. We just never seem to get our pick and roll defense quite right. And I think Billy Donovan needs to address this depending on the players that we're playing. Again, we should not be seeing Vucevic guard guys like De'Aaron Fox. But if you're versing a guy like Killian Hayes, for example, that might not be the best three-point shooter, and there's a weakness there that you could take advantage of, then maybe that's something that we could be okay with, depending on the guy that we're playing, and who is able to shoot the ball and who isn't able to shoot the ball, who could get by Vucevic and who can't. So these are things we really need to pay attention with, and I am very much frustrated with Billy Donovan and this situation. Last but not least, I would say the minutes problem is a big one for the Bulls, and Billy Donovan specifically. I think, again, there's a lot of guys getting a lot of minutes out there for the Bulls. I understand that he might feel like there's not much of a choice because our bench depth is all the way dropping in quality with no Torrey Craig, no Patrick Williams, no Lonzo Ball, no Zach LaVine. I understand that, right? But with that being said, a lot of our guys lead the league in minutes. And let's just say we do get to the playoffs. will those minutes come back to bite us? There's a lot of guys that will probably have tired legs towards the end of the season. All those minutes adding up over the course of an 82 game will affect us. So that's a question I have to ask as well. What do you think? I'll see you in the next one. Stay safe, stay healthy, and stay tuned for more. Take care, and peace.